Centuries before aspirin was ever created, before science bottled pain relief into pills, healers turned to the earth. Deep beneath the soil, they discovered a root, mysterious, potent, and feared for its power. It didn't just ease pain, it crushed it. Warriors carried it into battle, villagers trusted it in times of suffering, and healers guarded its secret like gold. This root was stronger than aspirin, yet history buried it, silenced it, and erased its name. But tonight, its forgotten story rises again. Welcome to Forgotten Leaf Secrets. In the ancient world, pain was not treated with pills or powders. It was conquered with roots. This root was more than medicine. It was survival. On forgotten battlefields, warriors drank it before marching into war. In quiet village huts, mothers used it to ease the suffering of childbirth. Elders trusted it to silence the aches of age. It was nature's answer to agony, a cure that worked faster than anything we know today. But as centuries passed, its name began to fade, its story buried beneath layers of history. So, what was this root? And why did the world abandon something stronger than aspirin? To uncover the truth, we must journey back to the civilizations that first discovered its secret. The story begins thousands of years ago, in civilizations that trusted the soil more than steel. From the valleys of Asia to the deserts of Africa, healers discovered this root and guarded it as if it were sacred. It wasn't just medicine, it was ritual. Crushed into bitter brews, boiled into dark teas, or chewed raw in moments of desperation, its power was undeniable. Warriors carried it into battle, believing it gave them strength to endure wounds. Villagers used it to silence fevers and ease the torment of broken bones. And elders, weakened by age, found relief in its mysterious strength. This root became a symbol of resilience, a natural shield against suffering. But with every generation, its legend grew quieter, until modern medicine replaced it with pills and powders. Yet the truth remained. This root controlled pain in ways aspirin never could. For centuries. This root was trusted more than any remedy. But as empires fell and new powers rose, its story began to change. The rise of modern science brought laboratories, pills, and profit. And slowly the root was pushed aside. What was once a healer's treasure became labeled as primitive, unscientific, and forgotten. Pharmaceutical companies promised faster cures, packaged in shiny bottles. The ancient root, with its bitter taste and earthy smell, could not compete with the polished image of modern medicine. And so, generation after generation, its use declined, until it vanished from daily life. Yet whispers remained. In remote villages, elders still spoke of its power. In hidden manuscripts, healers recorded its secrets. And in forgotten fields, the root continued to grow, waiting to be rediscovered. This was not just the loss of a plant, it was the loss of knowledge, a cure erased by time, silenced by industry, and buried beneath history. But what made this root so powerful? Why did it control pain in ways aspirin never could? To understand, we must uncover the science hidden inside its fibers. For centuries, healers trusted this root without knowing why it worked. But modern science has begun to uncover its hidden power. Inside its fibers lie compounds that act directly on the body's pain pathways. These natural chemicals don't just mask pain, they calm inflammation, relax muscles, and restore balance. Unlike aspirin, which can irritate the stomach and thin the blood, this root works gently, harmonizing with the body instead of fighting against it. Its strength comes from nature's design, a complex blend of alkaloids and antioxidants that modern labs struggle to replicate. Researchers who studied it found that its effects were faster, deeper, and longer-lasting than synthetic pills. It was not just a painkiller, it was a healer. And yet, despite its power, the world turned away, leaving its secrets buried in forgotten soil. But if this root was so powerful, why was it erased from history? The answer lies in the battle between nature and profit. Asterisk. The power of this root was undeniable, yet its disappearance was no accident. As modern medicine rose, industries saw profit in pills, not plants. The bitter taste of a root could never compete with the polished image of a tablet wrapped in shiny packaging. And so, slowly, the narrative was rewritten. What was once a healer's treasure was dismissed as superstition, labeled primitive, and pushed into the shadows. Behind the scenes, pharmaceutical companies invested millions to promote synthetic drugs. They promised quick relief, faster cures, and a future where nature was no longer needed. But hidden in those promises was a motive profit. A root that grew freely in the soil could never be patented, never be owned, never be sold at a premium. And so, it was silenced. Ancient manuscripts that praised its strength were ignored. Villagers who still used it were called uneducated. Generations who relied on it were told to forget. The root story was buried not by time alone, but by design. Yet, even in suppression, whispers survived. In remote corners of the world, elders still spoke of its power. In hidden fields, the root continued to grow, waiting for the day its secret would return. This was more than the erasure of a plant. It was the erasure of wisdom, a cure erased by industry, silenced by profit, and buried beneath history. But the question remains, if this root was stronger than aspirin, what secrets lie inside it that science could not afford to reveal? Asterisk, the secret of this root lies deep within its natural chemistry. Modern researchers who dared to study it found compounds that worked in harmony with the body's own defenses. These molecules didn't just dull pain, they targeted the very pathways where pain begins. They calmed inflammation, soothed nerves, and restored balance to muscles and joints. Unlike aspirin, which often comes with side effects, this root carried none of the same risks. No stomach irritation, no dangerous thinning of the blood. Instead, it offered relief that was gentler, deeper, and longer lasting. It was as if nature had designed the perfect medicine, hidden in plain sight. In laboratory tests, extracts of this root showed results that stunned scientists. Pain levels dropped faster, recovery times improved, and the body responded as if it had been given something familiar, something it recognized. This was not a foreign chemical. This was nature's own blueprint for healing. And yet, despite the evidence, the root remained forgotten. Its power was too simple, too natural, too unprofitable for industries built on selling pills. But the truth could not stay buried forever. Slowly, whispers of its strength began to resurface, carried by healers, researchers, and those who refused to let its memory die. This root was more than a cure. It was proof that the earth itself holds answers modern science has only begun to rediscover. Asterisk. The rediscovery of this root did not happen in laboratories first. It began in whispers. In remote villages, elders who had never abandoned tradition spoke of its power. They told stories of warriors who endured wounds without agony, of mothers who survived childbirth with strength, and of healers who guarded its secret like treasure. As researchers listened, curiosity grew. Samples were collected, tested, and studied. What they found stunned them. The same compounds that ancient healers trusted were still there. Still potent, still stronger than aspirin. Modern science had finally caught up with ancient wisdom. Soon, small groups of herbalists began reviving its use. They brewed teas, created tinctures, and shared remedies passed down through generations. Patients who had lost hope in synthetic pills found relief in this forgotten cure. The root was no longer just a legend. It was alive again. But with rediscovery came resistance. Industries built on profit feared what a natural, unpatentable medicine could mean. And so, the battle began once more between tradition and commerce, between nature and industry. Yet the truth was undeniable. This root had survived centuries of suppression, and now its story was rising again, stronger than ever. Asterisk, As whispers of the root's power spread, its revival began to reach beyond villages and healers. Small communities that had preserved its use for centuries started sharing their knowledge with the world. Herbalists documented its effects, researchers published studies, and slowly, the forgotten cure began to capture global attention. In wellness circles, teas and tinctures made from the root reappeared. Patients who had grown weary of synthetic pills found relief in its natural strength. Stories of recovery traveled across borders, from remote valleys to bustling cities, and curiosity turned into demand. The modern world, once quick to dismiss tradition, began to listen. Scientists revisited ancient manuscripts, uncovering evidence that matched their own findings. What was once labeled superstition now stood as proof of wisdom lost to time. Yet, with revival came conflict. Industries built on profit feared what a natural, unpatentable medicine could mean. Campaigns were launched to discredit it, calling it unreliable, unsafe, or outdated. But the truth was harder to silence this time. Too many voices had already felt its power. Too many stories had already been told. The root was no longer just a legend whispered in villages. It was becoming a symbol of resistance, proof that nature's wisdom could rise again, even in a world dominated by pills and profit. As the root story spread across the world, it began to spark something bigger than medicine. It ignited a movement. People who had grown tired of synthetic pills and endless side effects started searching for natural answers. And in that search, they found this forgotten cure. From small herbal shops to global wellness communities, the root became a symbol of awakening. It reminded people that healing was not invented in laboratories. It was born in the soil. Scientists who once dismissed it began to revisit their studies, uncovering evidence that matched the wisdom of ancient healers. What was once superstition now stood as undeniable truth. The impact was profound. Patients who had suffered for years found relief. Communities rediscovered traditions that had been silenced. And across continents, the root became more than a remedy. It became a voice, a reminder that nature's wisdom cannot be erased forever. But with global attention came new challenges. Industries built on profit still fought to suppress it, fearing what a free, natural cure could mean. Yet the more they resisted, the stronger the story grew. The root was no longer hidden. It was rising, becoming a symbol of resilience, a bridge between ancient knowledge and modern science. This was not just the return of a plant. It was the return of a truth powerful enough to change how we see pain, healing, and the wisdom of the earth itself. And now the journey comes full circle. From the forgotten battlefields of history to the polished shelves of modern pharmacies. From whispers in hidden villages to the rediscovery in global laboratories. This root has proven one undeniable truth. Nature's wisdom cannot be erased. It was stronger than aspirin, gentler than synthetic pills, and more enduring than any drug created in a lab. It carried the strength of warriors, the trust of mothers, and the hope of elders. It was not just a cure for pain. It was a symbol of resilience, of knowledge passed down through generations, of healing born from the soil itself. Its disappearance was not fate, but design, suppressed by profit, silenced by industry, buried beneath history. Yet, despite centuries of erasure, the root survived. It grew quietly in forgotten fields, waiting for the day its secret would rise again. And tonight, its story has returned stronger, louder, and more powerful than ever. This is more than the tale of a plant. It is a reminder that the earth still holds answers modern science has only begun to rediscover. It is proof that healing was never meant to be manufactured. It was meant to be grown. If you believe in uncovering forgotten wisdom, if you want to see more secrets hidden in the leaves of history, then join us on this journey. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video.